Okay, so after you have mixed your 7 colors that you're going to be using, what I want you to do, you're not going to start painting yet. What you're going to do is you are going to get an ice cube tray with a lid that are located over by the sink in the cupboard. You're going to get one of these and you are going to mix up every single one of these colors, okay? So there should be 7 spaces filled. That way, when we start painting on here, you have less color mixing to do and you can just paint. So you're gonna take some time to do that first. So I'm only gonna do maybe a couple colors here. So I have bigger bottles of paint that you can use for this other than the small ones. You will notice that they're the same colors though. So we have cool blue, we have the warm blue, the cool yellow, cool red. So look for the colors that you need, and then obviously you are going to need white and black as well. So as you do this, use this paper to test out what the color is. So for instance, I know that I was doing a blue-green, so I was using the cool blue. So I'm gonna start just kind of by making it this middle tone here, this middle color. So if that's, and I would line it up in lightness to darkness. So I'm gonna do my darkest one here. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where I'm gonna put my middle color. Okay. And when you're doing this, you should have enough paint that basically you're just mixing it about halfway. So a little bit above these little green marks. Okay, so then use your popsicle stick. So that might be a pretty good color. But before you decide, I'm gonna actually kind of fill this one up a little bit more because I'm gonna pull from it. So then if I do this again, that's pretty close to what I had that first time. Remember, it's gonna dry a little bit differently. Okay, so then from here, I'm going to make the darker versions of that and the lighter versions of that. So if I'm pulling this over, sometimes you might actually wanna like start with the color that you have, you know, pull it over, or just remember the ratio of paint that you use. So I'm gonna do my darker ones first. So I use quite a bit of blue, quite a bit of yellow. So right now that looks a little bit lighter than this one here, a little bit greener. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more blue, and then I'm just gonna add in a touch of black.
Test it out.
So maybe I need to add a little bit more black. Sometimes you can't really tell if it's dark enough until it dries, but you'll have to kind of play that one by ear a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna speed it up and mix the rest of these. Okay, so once you have these all mixed up, we will just store these colors with the lids on them in our bin, and hopefully you don't have to mix up as many colors. But after you have this done, this is where you will begin painting, by looking at this shape here, okay? So what I want you to notice, and you might have to do some mapping out of areas. So for instance, if this is my number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is going to be kind of a number 1 shade. And this one kind of starts out as a 2. I know it's probably hard to see. 2, and then it fades to about a 5, maybe even a 6, okay? So that is what you are going to be doing and filling in, okay? So as we look here, let's kind of do this shape here. So my 2 to the 6. So here's my 2 color. And what I want you to practice is nice, clean brush strokes with this. And you will potentially have to do another layer of paint, so keep that in mind. And as you begin to paint, you might say, you know what, I need that area to be a little bit darker. Maybe you need to add some black to it. And that's okay if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to start fading it out a little bit by using kind of this 4. But I don't want things to look streaky, okay? So I can't just leave it like this. There's a line here, so while you really got to focus on blending those colors together. A tip for this is sometimes to clean out your brush. So just wipe it off with a paper towel, and then with no paint on it, just go in between the colors and it will kind of fade it out. Okay, so you're going to continue this with all of your sections. If you are ever getting an area like this that looks like a little streaky, that means you don't have enough paint on your brush. So really load it up and try practicing long paint strokes without picking up your brush, because that will really help you blend those colors together. Okay, so you will continue doing this for all of these little triangle shapes that you've made.